Welcome back. I lied. Apparently. I thought we were done with this game and moving on to the second one, but here we are. So now we know who the aggressor really was, and yet there remains much to this case that needs to be resolved. Like how the weapons crossed country lines, for example. The two countries have incredibly strict security systems and entry procedures. Short of a miracle, it's impossible for someone to have smuggled them in. Smuggling them in, huh? We will need to open a new line of investigation on just this aspect alone. But before we do, I'd like to go through my evidence once more. Unnecessary evidence has been removed, remaining evidence has been rearranged. Sir, there's a VCR here. We can see what's on that tape Detective Matt gave us. This piece of evidence from the KG-8 incident, hidden from sight for 10 long years. I just know that this is related to the current case somehow. Detective Gumshoe, if you could please play the tape for us. Sure thing, sir. This man, it's Manny Cochin. And he's holding a knife in his hand. This looks like footage from a security camera at the entrance of an apartment building. An apartment building? How do you figure that? Unlike you, I actually read the summary file on the KG-8 incident, and the crime scene was the victim's own apartment. So this footage was shot at the entrance to the victim's own apartment building. At the trial, Mr. Faraday claimed that this piece of footage existed, however no one could find it. Yes, somehow someone was able to steal it and hide it through Mr. Ernest Amano. I can see how this would have been a defining piece and why someone would want to hide it. But it's a piece of evidence from a 10-year-old case. There's no way it's related to the case we're working on now, sir. Actually, I believe it has everything to do with the case we're working on now. The ringleader even went so far as to use Mr. Portsman to retrieve it. Which means that in this video lies the very inconvenient bit of footage to the ringleader. Where? Wait, what was that? Huh? That bit you played just now. Please show it to me again. This car. This is something we cannot overlook. Why is that, sir? Look here, Detective Gumshoe. I mean, it's either the person or... Wait, no, that's the guy getting in the car, I'm guessing. This is probably the flag.
Take that!
This is the national flag of the Principality of Codopia. And because it has the national flag on it, we know this to be an official government car. But the question we should be asking ourselves is, what was a government car doing there? Ah, Miss Von Karma and Mr. Edgeworth, so you were here all this time. Ambassador Alba, thank you very much for continuing the investigation, even at this time of night. Ah, if only I was even a tiny bit more careful. This tragedy would never have happened. I am truly sorry. This wasn't your fault, sir. This had nothing to do with how careful you were. You idiot, Quarkus! You couldn't chase after a simple thief! Now then, let's get down to the real reason why I came looking for the two of you. I would like you to put the investigation on hold for a while. Couldn't you do that? Excuse me? I've heard you've apprehended the thief that turned this embassy upside down, and we are in the middle of an event celebrating our country's reconciliation. We can't exactly have the police and detectives walking around here forever. You're scaring the visitors away, so I hope that you can understand how I feel. But we must finish our investigation and resolve the remaining issues. Why don't we leave the rest to the Alabastian and Babalis police? Ambassador, we are so close, just a little more and... Miss Von Karma, I'm afraid I've made up my mind. And without my permission, you can't proceed with your investigation anyway, right? That's true, however. As he said at the very beginning, This area can be considered to be Alabastian soil, in which case we are nothing but foreigners in their land. Is this really where our investigation ends? Shifu, we found Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Shifu, this way. Weren't you... This is still the same day, right? Aren't you still shot? Agent Lang, you're back on the scene rather quickly. If I laid back and took a break, I'd lose the scent of my prey, Mr. Prosecutor. Agent Lang, why have you returned? Because I have to solve this case no matter what. Well, I'm sorry to inform you. And don't take this the wrong way, I don't suspect you personally. However, a member of Interpol was just found to be a thief, and so... Grr. Under these circumstances, I wish to put your investigation on hold. After all, I believe our own police can handle things from here. They are quite capable. At this rate, our investigation really will come to a close. Ambassador Alba, I get it now, I really do. Oh? I'm very glad you understand how I feel. No, not that. What I was talking about is... I know who the killer is behind tonight's murder. You... know? The... killer? Do you really mean that, Agent Lang? Wolves don't lie. And who is it? Well, let me first say that I'm not talking about Mr. Cochin's murder. That was all she knew. Lang Zi says the truth lies not at the exit, but rather shines outside the maze itself. The truth is unexpectedly simple. So let me ask you this. Who do you think was Damas 2's killer? I'll tell you who. It was you, Franziska. What? I was the killer. Hey, wait, but that's impossible. Yeah. Although that whip is actually quite... Hold your tongue in that ludicrous remark you were about to make. Agent Lang, are you seriously accusing her of murder? Yeah, I am. He doesn't appear to be joking. Hey, sis. I remember that just before Ambassador Alba went to give his speech, he called you into his office, right? Yes, he did. But what does that have to do with anything? I'm getting to that. Furthermore, in order to solve both cases, you moved around rather freely between Alabast and Babal, did you not? And where is your evidence that I am the killer? I was just getting to that. Trust me, I'll show them to you in due time. I will say this, it is nice that I'm not the one being accused for a change. Ambassador Alba, in order for me to bring this case to a close, I'll need to inspect your office one more time. Will you grant me permission? With things as they are, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? Good, then let's move out. Oh, and don't even think about running away, sis. My pack will be keeping a close eye on you, you can bet your bottom dollar on that. As if I would have any reason to flee. But just so we're clear, your logic had better be sound. Because I'll accept nothing short of a perfect explanation. She seems rather upset, not that I blame her. I expected that you'd accept no less. But we'll see how long you can keep that nose of yours stuck up in the air like that.
Hold it!
Agent Lang, as someone related to tonight's case, I request that you allow me to take part, and so that I may clean up my superior's mess. I guess I should. The more the merrier, especially when it's the peanut gallery. Oh, in that case, I want to join in too. I still haven't seen what it looks like in Alabast yet. If you like hay, then you've got to let me too, pal. I can't sit around and do nothing when Miss Von Karma's in trouble. Hey, Gummy, let's have a competition to see who can save her first, okay? Okay, I'll take you up on that. Oh yeah, I'm fired up and raring to go. As a detective, I don't believe this is something you're supposed to be excited over. It's not like this is going to be real interesting. Ambassador Alba, I'll be bringing these kids along for the ride. Very well. but I'd like you to keep in mind that this will be your last chance. I'll have this whole mess cleaned up before you know it. Now, let's go. Okay, now let's first go over the facts one more time. Manny Kojin's body was found over in the Secretariat's office in Babal. The weapon that took his life was one of the Alabast's ornamental knives. And then the body of Damas II, Mr. Kashino, was found here in the Alabastian ambassador's office. Through our investigation, we found that the murder weapon was this Primaduck statue. And this is actually Babal's statue. In this case, no matter how I look at it, sis, if it wasn't you, then there's no one else who could have pulled it off. Agent Lang, do you understand the full implications of what you're saying? Of course I do, sis, and I'm serious. You were on the trail of the smuggling ring, and you wanted any evidence you could find. And so, while people were distracted by the Yatagarasu's appearance, you snuck in here. That's when you two ran into each other. You and the other thief who took advantage of the confusion from the fire. Even if all of that were true, how do you explain the movement of the weapons? Don't worry. I plan to show that you're the culprit behind that too. You have permission to investigate both embassies at will. With that kind of free reign, you could have easily taken the weapons across country lines. Hey now. Look, sis. I thought I already told you, I'm not messing around here. This case isn't directly tied to the smuggling ring, but Sheena certainly is tied to the smuggling ring. He's right in saying that she is a member of the smuggling ring. However, the connection between this case and the ring, could it not be deeper than what any of us can imagine? Grrr. Let's get this ridiculous circus over with already. Franziska, you need to calm down. Because you only know the facts of the Alabastian side of the case, I don't believe you can see the case as a whole and therefore solve it. What? But don't worry, I am taking this seriously as well, and I will prove your innocence. That's the only way to be, Mr. Prosecutor. But can you come up with anything else that can top my hypothesis? Of course, your explanation has to solve the mystery of the moving weapons as well. Of course, and I will. Let us now delve into the truth behind the murder of Damas II. You do understand, don't you, Miles Edgeworth? This isn't just a confrontation against Agent Lang. If you can't figure out how the murder of Damas II is related to the smuggling ring, then it will mean the end of our investigation. As long as I have no good counter-arguments to his hypothesis, then the best I can do is walk this thin tightrope and see what I can do. Come on, Mr. Prosecutor, let's get started. Yes, let's. Border-crossing weapons. One of the Alabast knives was used in Babal to murder Mr. Kojin, and the murder weapon in the killing of Damas II is Babal's Primaduck statue. Somehow these two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. The only one who traversed the two countries just before you and after the crimes was you. So we know that part was, because didn't what's-his-name do that? Kojin? So as long as I can't explain how the weapons moved about, Franziska will remain a suspect. You got it, Mr. Prosecutor, so why don't you stop giving me a hard time? Under the circumstances, who the heck can carry a weapon across country lines? I worked through every... Oh wait, no, but he sent what's-his-name to steal the statue, and then dude died. Agent Lang, what I've learned from you just now is that you've lost sight of yourself. What are you talking about? By focusing too intently on that which is in front of us, we become blind to the truth. Don't tell me Lang Zi never said anything to that effect. You, prosecutor, who do you think you are speaking about Lang Zi's proverbs like that? I don't need his proverbs, because my words are all you will need to see the truth. Rebuttal! Alright, one of the Alabastian knives was used to murder... Yep, that's true. Murder weapon... True. Impenetrable. I should hardly think so. You've seen the top of the wall between the two countries, right? Who in the world can cross over that? Yeah, not even I could climb that thing with all the barbed wire. The only way into either embassy is through the doors in the Theatrum Neutralis. So the only way for the knife and the Permadex statue to traverse the two countries is through those security camera-equipped, well-guarded doors. Somehow, these two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. Alright, actually, what do I still have on me since they took away all the irrelevant evidence? Was this carried across country lines? It was a fake, but was swapped. So yeah, the statues were swapped. But isn't that what Damask 2 was doing? Unless Damask already succeeded. Like, if he stole the first statue, and he was killed putting back the second statue? Maybe? I don't know. I think this.
Objection!
Agent Lang, those two items are not the only two to cross the border tonight. Oh? Damask 2 was killed with Babal's Permadex statue, yes. But if that's the case, then tell me, where did Alabast's Permadex statue go? To Babal. Precisely. And if the two statues really were switched, then this means that both statues were smuggled across the border at some point. Which means that a total of 3 items were smuggled across the embassies. I guess so. But you know what? It doesn't matter the number of items, only that Sis is the only one who could have done it. Because the only person who went back and forth between Alabast and Babal is her. Is that really true? Was there no one else who traveled between the two countries? Actually, there was definitely another person. One who paid a visit to both sides of the wall. The Atagarasa. Is that really so, Agent Lang? What a lousy time to try and bluff your way out of this. I checked out what the guard said along with the security camera footage. You're not going to overturn my hypothesis that easily. But suppose there was some other way other than through the theater doors. What other way? The other entity that managed to cross the border unharmed, if I pointed out, it would open up a new possibility. And though I hesitate to bring this out, as long as this entity exists, the impossible road becomes a possibility. Looks like you have some clever idea in mind. I do, and I can show it to you through a single piece of evidence. Fine then. Let's see this piece of evidence that will show me this other route. This piece of evidence will show us another way to move between the two countries. The flowers! Oh, See, I've been wondering, because we had these flowers in our evidence thing, and they've yet to come up. And every time I see them, I'm like, why are these here? I just realized they're the hairpins that Sheena gave Kay. That's why they were covered in soil. Has nothing to do with this. Why is this still relevant? Open their stage. This one. Yeah, because this shows that they went over the wall.
Take that!
Agent Lang, I'm sure you're familiar with this unforgettable photo. That supernatural photo, like I said before. Humans can't fly. No, of course not. I understand that perfectly well. And don't start claiming that Sheena somehow grew wings either. I wouldn't dream of claiming that. And I won't allow you to take back what you said earlier, I'll say it again, it's not humanly possible to fly through the air without wings. So you better have a good explanation for this, Mr. Prosecutor. But how can I prove who it was that flew through the air in this photo? Wait, not humanly possible? Eureka! Very well, you will have your explanation. It sounds like you have a good idea simmering inside that head of yours. Let's hear it. The face hidden within this photo blurry... The face hidden within this photo's blurry, trailed shadow is... What? I do not know. The face hidden within this photo's blurry, trailed shadow. I mean, what do I have in here that has a face? It wasn't Kochin's body. We didn't just like yeet Kochin's corpse over the border. I guess we could have yeeted the statue over the border. What's the shape of the statue? Let's see. So because the arms are sticked out, it does kind of have like an hourglass shape with like I don't even know if my mouse shows up on the recording, but with like a little V here. Does that match the shadow? Oh, it kind of does. It sticks out like this would be like the little V on the dress part, but that does kind of look like it could be it. If it's like in a bag, maybe? That's what that is? Yeah, no, actually, it could be it. Let's... Okay, this is the only thing I can think of. Like, nothing else, unless we just threw Kochin's body. This is the only other thing that has a face.
Take that!
Naturally, the shadow is the third smuggled object, the Prima Duck statue replica. You can't be serious. The Adagarasu, or rather Callistra Yu, dressed as Agent Sheena, was inside the ball. She dressed the replica statue up in clothes and launched it through the air. Ha! Mr. Prosecutor! You left out a very crucial bit in your explanation. I know I did. She launched it through the air? Ha! And how exactly did she do that? He is literally burying his fangs at me. But he has a point. How exactly did it move through the air like that? As long as this remains unsolved, we won't be able to move any closer to the truth. Which reminds me, didn't he say this earlier? Hey sis, I remember that just before the Ambassador Alba went to give his speech, he called you into his office, right? So just before the murder, Franziska was called here, right into this very room. If that's the case, that may be another avenue I can pursue. Agent Lang, in order for me to answer that question, I will need to hear testimony from Miss Von Karma. Oh? What are you up to now, pretty boy? Thank you. Earlier, you mentioned something of interest to me. You said that just before the murder occurred, Miss Von Karma had been in this room because Ambassador Alba had called for her. And for that reason alone, you believe her to be the killer. Yeah, I guess I did say something like that. In that case, I believe it is my duty to ask her what her side of the story is. Ha! You really think a criminal would tell us the honest truth? How dare you? As I said numerous times, there is absolutely no proof that I am the killer. Miles Edgeworth, don't tell me you suspect me too. I don't. However, I can't ignore the fact that you were in this room at one point in time, which is why I would like to hear about it from you. Franziska, I feel that I still don't have enough information, which is why your testimony is incredibly important to the outcome of this case. Alright, so what would you like me to talk about? I'd like you to please testify your movements up until you came into this room. Alright, let's try this your way for a change. We've done everything my way. But if what she has to say turns out to be a waste of time, I'll place her under arrest faster than you can howl no. As you wish. Movements in Alabast. As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Alabastian embassy. After I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked up on the security situation. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back to Ambassador Alba to his office. Franziska, I want us to make this clear from the very beginning. So what I wish to confirm is that the only time span in which you were in this office was before the murder occurred. Is that correct? Yes, of course. I see. For now, the only way I can see for us to break out of the situation is to ask Franziska about her testimony in more detail. Dude, was that depressive for them? Signed to guard duty. Checks out. Checks out. Checks out. Why? We know why you were called back here?
Hold it!
At that time, Damas 2's body had yet to be found in this room, is that correct? That's right. But Ambassador Alba was here. One could hardly miss his rather large presence. A criminal will say anything to get out of getting arrested. How do we know you're not lying? Well, if you need proof, I'd be happy to oblige you. Seriously? Like I keep telling you, when I arrived at this office, Ambassador Alba was already here. He was standing by the flower box on the windowsill watering his plants. What the fuck? When did you... Were you in here this whole time? I can attest to that. I remember speaking with the lovely lady around that time here in my office. Grr. Alright then. Add that statement to your testimony and let's hear some detail. So Ambassador Alba was in the room at the time.
Hold it!
For the sake of being thorough, I'd like to ask you something. How did you know that Ambassador Alba was watering his plants at the windowsill? What do you mean by that? The entrance to this room is on this side, however the window is on the opposite side. If what you say is true, then when you entered the room, his body would have been like a wall. He would have been blocking the view of what he was doing. Is that not correct? I suppose it was a bit hard to see around him. But fortunately for me, Ambassador Alba is not an immovable wall. I knocked before entering, and as I did, he turned around to greet me, with a watering can in his hand. So it's only natural to believe that he was watering his plants, right? I suppose. After his greeting, we spent a little time talking about his flowers. He had obtained them himself and is growing them with the utmost care, you know. Yes, the plants in this room, they are all like my children. The passion flowers in the flower box on the windowsill are growing beautifully too. All 4 of them are in full bloom. Ms. Von Karma, what did you say just now? I said that the flowers are growing beautifully. What about that statement do you not understand? It's the fact that there's only 2 there. Which is why, what's-her-name, Sheena had those 2 hair sticks. Why do I not understand? I do not understand why a certain thing is the way it is. I'd like for you to upend the statement of your testimony. Very well. There were 4 large yeah, so, boom. Because the passion flowers only have 2. But you can see the holes where the other 2 are.
Objection!
Franziska, for some odd reason, your testimony contradicts with this piece of evidence. It does appear that way. Ha! I knew it. I knew we couldn't trust your word, sis. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you doing discrediting Ms. Von Karma like this? Yeah, sir. If you keep this up, she's gonna get taken away, sir. All I've done is state what I saw. I have not made a single mistake in my testimony. And for this, I am still under suspicion for murder. Is the number of flowers really all that important at this juncture, Miles? At the very least, it is a contradiction in this enigmatic case, one that I find hard to dismiss as irrelevant. Then let's hear it, Mr. Prosecutor. What does the number of flowers have to do with anything? What does it prove? I believe the answer to that will become clear if we were to examine that flower box. There must be something behind this discrepancy. They're my beloved flowers. I've grown them with the utmost care. So I ask that you please be gentle with them as you examine them, Mr. Edgeworth. I understand. So what do you call flowers? They're actually a species of vine. They appear to be growing well and are well supported by the plant supporters. No matter how I look at it, there are only two here. The little lie has failed you. Miles Edgeworth, hurry up and shut this man up for me already. Show evidence. You have such confidence in the face of your current plight that I highly doubt it'll last to the end. You howl like a wolf, Agent Lang, but we'll see if you have any bite to back that up after you see this evidence. The hair sticks.
Take that!
Sheena, who was supposedly in Babal the entire time, had these hair sticks on her. They look exactly like the plant supporters in this flower box. In other words, I believe it can be said that these hair sticks are in actuality support sticks for the passion flowers. Heh, and so what? Is this really all that important to the case? Of course it is. It means that we found yet another item that was smuggled between the countries tonight. Ayah. Think about it logically, Agent Lang. These sticks were originally in Alabast, but somehow they wound up in Sheena's hands, who was in Babal the whole night. So make no mistake, these sticks were smuggled somehow, just like the knife and statue. Very well then. I want to hear from you exactly how they wound up in Babal. How did these support sticks find their way to Babal and why? There must be some reason as to why they ended up there. Aha, so that's why. Agent Lang, if you'd please take a look at this and tell me its shape. It's just another stick, isn't it? And so it is, but the shape of the support stick is what's important. For when they are used with something in this room, that's when it all comes into focus. What? And the object that completes the picture when used with the support stick. God, this terrifies me. Oh, is it the crossbow? Like we saying, like the crossbow was used to shoot the stick to the other side? That's the only thing I can think of. Like, nothing else would be, because he keeps making a big deal about the shape of it. You know, like the shape's important, so it can be used as crossbow ammo. That's a crossbow. Wait, you're not really suggesting I am. These hair sticks, or rather plant support sticks, they make for perfect arrows. Ayah! I've done it. I found the common thread that connects the two offices. But this thread has yet to be completely untangled. Even using the arrows, how does this explain how the statues were transported? Furthermore, who could it have been that fired these sticks as arrows? There must be a common thread that ties all of these things together. Mr. Prosecutor, hold up a second. You do realize what happens when you tie a statue to an arrow, right? They don't fly at all. Alright. Well, apparently we're now going to argue with this guy. But we're going to do that next time. Bye-bye.